Hello, welcome to Spy Money. We're going to talk about drawing tools today. How you can use those, how you can make hotkeys for them. Um, just use them on your the regular ones that you use. I have hotkeys I use. So one thing you can do is I'm going to show you the drawing tools first. And down through here you can see that there's hotkeys. I don't use all these. Most of these are just default settings. And I don't the only one I really use is the control draw mode or stay in draw mode. And if I hit control D, well, it won't show it there. But if I hit control D now, see how it makes a check mark? And then if I make it go away, then it's away. Now what control draw mode can stay in draw mode does is, let's say you're going to make a bunch of different lines. So we go ahead and check that one, and then we come down and we're going to make lines. So we're going to make a trend line from here up to there, but we want to make another one down here. So this enables us to go ahead and keep on drawing lines as much as we want. So you keep on going. The default is set that is unchecked, because what will happen is if you want to move the chart, when you do this, you're still drawing lines. So you don't want to be doing that all the time. But if you're going to make a lot of the same things, then that's what you want to do. Now, if you messed up, you don't want anything on your chart, you come all the way down to remove all drawings, and boom, it's gone. So by doing that, that will help you out. And I don't use the stay in draw mode much, but one thing I do is if I'm going to make a bunch of arrows, so if I come down and if I make an arrow line, so if I say I'm wanting to point to something, so I'm wanting to point over there and I'm wanting to point over here, if I'm showing someone something, then this is really where I usually use the stay in draw mode. And again, remove all of them there. So I'm going to show you how I actually use the drawing tools, what I like best. And I'll take them down through here. And I'm not going to go over all of them because most of them are self-explanatory, but I'll just show you the ones that I typically use. The ruler is a good one. Like if you want to know from right here to right there how far it is, you click those and then you drag this one over and put the box where you want. There is no measurement on this line. It's only from here to there. Now this one tell me there's 32.5 points from there to there. It says there's 111 bars. So each one of these candles is an actual bar. That's what they're called, bars. And then you have the time. It was an hour and 51 minutes from down here to up there. So in an hour and 51 minutes, we moved 32.5 points, which is roughly a little over $1,500 per contract is on ES is what that would be. So in an hour and 51 minutes, if you'd bought one contract and just held it all the way from the very bottom, which would not have happened, and the very top, which would not have happened, you'd made a little over $1,500. So that would actually benefit quite a bit. So we're going to go ahead and take this one off. Actually, let's go back in here. You can change just call it whatever you want. So maybe you want to call this one roller 1 or 2, or maybe it's on a certain run or whichever. You can also change this to ticks. So if you wanted to change it to ticks, click apply. Now you're showing 130 ticks. I like the price. By price, it shows the points. But you can change it to what you want. If you're doing Forex, you could change it to pips, and then you can see it's 13 pips. It just depends on what you want it at. So I like the price. You can actually do currency here, and that would show you would made $1,625 on that one per contract is what you would have done. So if you're wanting to see how much of a move that could have been that you'd made, you put currency. You put it on price if you just want to see the points, which is what I go by. And so we're going to click out of that, and if you click on that and you see the little dots pop up and you hit delete, you can delete it. The next one we're going to go over is a line. So a line would be like a trend line. So if you're wanting to see if this is a trend, you could click right there, and then you could bring this on up, and you could try to align all these. You can see that we hit right there. We're hitting right there. It looks like we may come down and bounce right there again. As long as we stay above that trend line, then you can stay long. But if we drop below this trend line, then it's probably going to sell off or pull back to a certain point. So the trend line is really good. I use that a lot. You have a ray. A ray is the same as a trend line, except it goes completely off the chart. So if you did this and you keep on moving this like that, you'll never find the end because the ray goes forever. Okay, so I don't really use the rays. I'm not a huge fan of the ray itself. But if you want something that's going to go long term to where you don't have to keep on drawing your trends out, then it works. But for the most part, your trends don't last forever. But if you're on say a weekly chart or something like that, then maybe that would work for you. And then you have the extended line. Just if you click there, where'd it go? It'll go forever. It's like a ray on both directions. So if you're trying to, maybe you want to draw a trend off of, say from here, and you're wanting to draw this up, and then if you want to go ahead and change this to say change it to a daily chart, and then if you come back, well, daily don't really work on that. We do an hourly chart. An hourly chart, yeah, on this example it doesn't do it because it's straight up and down. But if you were doing, say, this one would work for you. If we do extended line here, so if we go from there all the way up to here, and then we go into a daily, and then we go into our data series and change that daily to say 1,000 days. Now, if we come back, this would have actually kept on going, so it would have shown all the way back. So if any of these candles had been touching down here, any of the bars down there, then it would have showed where it was. So it's a good way to actually draw out a trend, to look, past history of what may have happened. And so I don't really use that, but it's one that you can. And then if we go back to our normal chart, go down to the arrow line. I showed you that one, where if you're just wanting to point at something, you start from where you want the line to start and end where you want the arrow to be. So now one thing that this does is it will see how it's kind of jumping around on me. It's actually looking for the actual bars and so forth. Now you can come up here and take the snap mode and disable it, and now see how it's actually moving where I point it. So if you're wanting it to go to a snap mode, and it will actually snap to, you can put it on the bar, the price, or the bar and price. If you do the bar only, then when you move this around, you can see it's already on this other bar. Now when I move back, it'll go to that next one, and then it'll go to the red one. So, and then as you move it, it'll just snap to the bar, and then you can just move it up and down. So it depends on what you want. I usually have mine on snap, and that way it'll let me, it'll just actually go to that particular bar. So it depends on how I'm wanting to draw the arrows. Sometimes I want to take the snap mode off and disable it, and that way it'll go to where I want to point it. The horizontal line, I've got that on a hotkey. I've got it's Control H. So when I do Control H, like right now, it won't do anything. It's just moving. I hit Control H, and there it is again. H for horizontal line. And the horizontal line is great for trying to find your resistance spot. So if you're wanting to go over and you know that there's a certain peak, there's a peak that you want it to be on, so right there. So you want to pick those two tops. Well, we know that on Thursday, it went right across the top, but we popped out of it. So there's a good chance that we may go ahead and keep on going with this. So that's what I use a horizontal for. It's just finding support and resistance lines. And then we come down, we'll have a vertical line. It's just a line up and down. The path is, if you're If you're just wanting to trace out a certain pattern, like an ABC pattern or something, then you can do that and it'll draw that pattern out. I don't really use that much. Then we have Fibonacci Retracements I use all the time. So on this one, if you wanted to get a fib and say you wanted to set it up from here to right there, it'll automatically draw it out and find all your information. Now what I do on the Fibonacci pivots or Fibonacci retracements is I have price levels set up. You click on that and you can write all these down, pause the screen, and you can put all these in, but you just type in whatever value you want. So let's say you want 400%, so you do 400. Now if you want like 400 and say you want on a 618, so you would do the 461.8 is where you would get for the 618 on the 400 mark. Now if you bring this down, you can change the color of it. So if you say you wanted it lime green, so you go ahead and apply it, and then it is going to be way up here. We just added that one right there. So that's how you add them, and you just change them to the color that you want. I have mine set up, I'll get this a little bit smaller. I have mine set up to where it goes down to almost 300 and it goes up to almost 300. Now by doing that, I can draw one Fibonacci back here and it will work for a very long time, and I don't have to keep on drawing Fibonacci's, because once you find the area that you need that works, then that's where you want to stay. There's no sense of drawing Fibonacci's all the time, and you can tell by drawing the Fibonacci right here, you can see that it is a good one because it interacted very well with it. Now that's not where I would put it because I'm on a 5-minute chart. I would have went higher time frame, but you know, if you're scalping on a very, very small time frame, then you know, usually you go 4 times whatever you're doing. So if you're doing a 1-minute scalping, then you'll usually go, you know, about a 5-minute or whichever. So when you do that, that'll help you with your Fibonacci's. That is my #1 indicator that I use. Now one thing you can do is if you click on any indicator, you can come double click it and it'll open up and it'll show all your indicators that you have. So we're going to remove that one and remove that one, and we're going to remove the extended line too. Now you can also come up and come down and remove all drawings, and you click on that and it'll take them all away. Let's see here. Then we come in, what's another one? The extensions work. If you know how to use Fibonacci, all these work pretty good. I don't use any of these other than the trend channel. I do use that one. If I am trying to find a trend, then I will say bring this one up. It looks like it is about right there, and then we come down and we could actually draw this one. That's not a good one there, so let's start that all over. Started on the wrong side anyway. Let's say we're trying to find the trend on this one, so we come up and we got our trend there, and then we bring that down. The trend is about there because we've got a hit here, there, these two, and right up through here, and then this one is. So that is our channel. Now if you want to extend this channel, then you just grab a hold of it and you just move it up. So that's how you would move it. And then, you know, that'll, as long as you're staying in that channel, you know that you're good to keep on playing it. But if it comes out of it or bounces out this way, then you know that it's changing on you. That's a very good one. Oh, one thing, let's see if I can get that back. Well, if we go in, like sometimes I will have a channel like this, and then sometimes I'll have a channel that is it's coming down. Okay, so the greens. If I double click that, I can change this over to a red, and then I know that that is a short and this one is a long. So it helps me know where, you know, what channel is what. So I'm if you look at colors of them, it's actually easier to follow. So you can change those for whatever you want. You can also change the opacity of it. Maybe you want it to be a little bit less to where the candles show through a little more. Maybe you don't want it to be so vibrant. So I made it 10%. You can do that as well. The drawing tools, the charting in NinjaTrader is very good. I really like it. There's some I don't use. I don't use any of these except this one. The regression channel works pretty good. So if you're trying to find where the actual trend is and you don't want to sit there and try to draw it out. So here's a better example. If we go to a 15-minute and we go back to the regression. If we click right here, as we move it, that thing will automatically figure the channel. So it's actually finding where the support and resistance lines are. So you can see this one, we clicked down here, went all the way up to there, and it found kind of where those channels are, and it's got the middle bar too. So the regression actually works really well too. I prefer to find my own, but the regression, if you're not real good at finding the trends and stuff, the regression works really well. So it'll help you out as far as finding them. There. So we'll delete that one out. So the regression works good. The trend works good. If you're going to do like trying to find a zone area, and if you go, say right through here, you know that there's, let me find a spot right there. So we know that right across the top of this is a lot of resistance. So if we come into here, we come over and then we draw this down, and then what we're going to do is wait on this to break out. And as soon as it breaks out, we're going to go long. So it tried to break out there, but it come right back down in it. And then it broke out here. You can see right there that it had a little resistance, so we know that we could have got out there. So we could have actually had two different zones in there. So we could have had one that was right there, or we could have just had both of them all in one. So if we could have maybe raised that one up, because it never broke out of that, but really the zone area is down here. But as soon as we break out of that, then we know that we're good to go. So drawing the rectangles out actually helps you quite a bit. And you could actually brought this one down into here, but you can put your zones wherever you want them. This one, in my opinion, the zone was right there, because that's where the majority of your touches are, the majority of the touches there. And as soon as it come out of that, you can see it dropped, and this will be another zone down here. So you can use those for zones. They work really well for that. You can do a triangle. So if you're, I don't use them. That's just not my style of trading. But let's say you went to there, and then you come down, and there's different strategies you can use that these triangles would actually work really well for, but I just don't use them for like the ABC patterns and so forth. It's just not my trading. The order flow, that's actually a really good one. So if you're looking, you can see that this is a zone going here, then you can actually click there, and then you can, as you move this down, it will actually pick up the support and resistance. You can tell, I mean, I'm not moving that. As I go sideways, it pulls up. So this is showing you the order flow. So if you put that in, and then you come back over here, you can see, let's see if I can get it to move over. I think I can. Once you draw it, it'll have to stay. You have to make a new one. There, that'll do it. So you can draw this on over, and it will show you where the order flow is. And this is letting you know where the main buyers and sellers are, right there at 37.27. So will this stay up there and keep on going? Possibly, but more than likely it's probably going to come down and retest that 37.27 again based off of this move here. Now if we take this move and let's see here, if I take this up to there, it's still bringing up 37.27. So your order flow, the majority of your action is right there. So more than likely on this Sunday, I mean today is the January 2nd, so tomorrow's the 3rd of Sunday. More than likely this is probably going to sell off down to the 37.27. That's probably what's going to happen. Once it gets here, then it could easily reverse back up, but I would say that down here is where it's going to come. This was just a good pop, end of the year. I think that they wanted the market to have an all-time high close for the end of the year, and I think that's what they did. It's all manipulated. So order flow is very good. Or volume profile, not order flow. Volume profile works real well. Your text, let's say that you had an arrow pointing there, then you could put in some text and type whatever you want there, and then that way you could have it and you can move it around. One thing you can do is if you do text and let's say you're calling them all the same, you can do Control C and then Control V, and you can just make a bunch of these. So that way you don't have to keep on typing the same thing over and over. Or maybe you have the color change the way you like. Maybe you had some that were for up and some for down, so you had green and red. You could copy all the red ones, and then you could just double click it. I'll show you how to do this. Go into text, and then you double click it, and then you can come down here and you can change it for what you want. So you can rechange that and it'll change there. You can also change the height of it, the data. Where is it? There's the font right there. So you can change that the height that you want. So if you want just to make it bigger, then you can. So you can do about anything you want with that. I use that often when I'm training. The chart marker, all that is just like your arrows and so forth. So if you have, like you're wanting to point an up thing there, then you can double click that. And then again, you can come down and change the color of it. So maybe you want it to be red instead. You can change the location of it here. Turn it on and off. You can make it locked. Auto lock locked means that it won't move when you go there. So if you clicked on it and try to move it, see how the little red thing comes up? It won't let you do it. But if we take that lock off and we click on it, then we can move it where we want. So that's something you can do with it. So if you're trying to figure out where you want, you need some notes on your chart when you're charting it out and so forth. It's easy to do. Drawing objects. I don't know. Oh, that's let's say you had. Let me just do a bunch of them here. Oops. And then I'll do a line. So if we come back into drawing objects, this is going to show everything that we just put in. This is where you can, maybe you can't find the point of where you can click on it and delete it. You can come in here and you can just hit your remove tool, and you can remove all of them that you want, but you still leave that one. You can also highlight that one. Just click on it, and if you see those round dots, hit delete and it goes away. I like this. I never use it anymore, but the Fibonacci line here, and this kind of lets you know how it's going. It works. We hit right there and it went straight up. So people laugh at them, but they work. And it depends on how you have your chart, but you can draw it in and bring it right into it. They do work. A lot of people don't think they do, but they do. Fibonacci numbers are probably the best trading tool that you can use. I mean, if you look just at how we drew this, if you drew it to that point right there to this point, and you'll see that it actually interacts with those particular areas. So as long as you get your Fibonacci's correct. I mean, I'm just playing with this one, but right there, then you can see it started interacting, come down, interacted a little bit. It's interacting with all these lines. So Fibonacci is probably the best tool that you can use. And see, vertical line, I told you what that does. It just has it up and down. And if you're just trying to figure out that, like there's this is long and you want to go in there and do that, then you can do this one. You can start there. You can come over to say right here, and then you can double click this, and then your outline, you can change that to a lime green. Oops. Let's see, anchor. Oh, here it is. Sorry. And then you can change that one to green. And then let's say, now right here is where you want to stay in drawing tool mode. So if you go here, then you can click there, and then you could do this one is going to be, for your ranging, and then you could do another one over to say right here. You could do another one there, and then you could do another one right here. So you could change, so turn the drawing tool off. You could change this one to a red. You want to change it all. And then you could change this one to a green. And this one, you can change this one to, oops, wrong one. You can change this one here to a red. So if you're wanting to color up your charts and see, to where you don't have to look at whatever, this will help you as far as knowing where your longs and shorts are. If you think this is going to be long, and say you've got a predetermined resistance or whatever, then you could actually draw, let's say, give you an example. I can't get in there. If say you had a candle that was up here somewhere, then you can go ahead and draw a horizontal line up there, and then when you come back, you think it's going to reach that spot, so you could come in with another one of these, and you could draw from there, and let's say you thought the point was going to be there, then you can go ahead and draw this one as a green. I'm just using this as an example. It's not a real good one, I guess. But if you thought it was going to be green all the way to there, then you can go ahead and color this in so you know to stay long. And then as soon as that goes to where it reverses, then you can move this to that area. So you could even make it to say here, and then as soon as that gets to where you want to go, where it's going to start reversing, then you can bring this back and bring it to there. So those are just some examples of what you can do with it. I don't really use those. It's not my thing to use, but it's different ones that you can. The charting on NinjaTrader, in my opinion, is one of the better charting settings that you can, or charting drawing tools that you can do. There's another one, and I will try to find a link for it, but it'll put your drawing tools right across the top here and right across the bottom. So instead of going up and clicking to bring it down, it'll be there, so you can just go right over, click on the button, and do it. And that's actually better. I had it on here, and I updated my Ninja, and it went away, so I'm going to put them back on there. But that's how you use the drawing tools. It's very easy. Once you go through here and just kind of click on different things, you're not going to use all of these, but there's a lot of them that you would use if you knew how to use them. For people that don't really know how to draw trend tools, this regression tool is probably the best one, because even like right now, if you clicked at your low point and then went to there, well, that's this thing shot straight up. Let's do another one. Let's do say a 5-minute chart. Actually, let's do a 60-minute chart. That'd be better. So if we come back and we're trying to find where this trend is, you can come in and do regression, and let's just say you click there, and then you went right on up. It takes it all the way right up to the very point. So this one is, they're saying a pretty decent trend. I personally don't like their trends as much as my own trends, but if you come back, as you keep on going back, it kind of shows an area. This line right here is actually a pretty decent line, but I personally like to draw my own trend lines. But if you don't know how, this will get you somewhat close, and then you can learn how to draw your trend lines a little better. So that's probably one that actually works out good for a lot of people. If you have any questions, let me know. That should help you with all your drawing tools.